I'm Justin Pritchard for Driving.ca. This is the newly updated for 2021 Chrysler Pacifica Pinnacle with stow and go and all-wheel drive. And in this video, we're looking at why that combination of features is finally available, what it means for shoppers, how it drives, and why active growing families need to give this machine a look.
Look at that handsome new mug rolling down the road. This one's brimming with updates for 2021, and in this video, we're focusing on the biggest of those and how they position this updated flagship minivan as an even more compelling choice than ever. The Chrysler Pacifica is a product of Windsor, Ontario, just like me. It was made in a factory that I used to walk my dog next to as a kid. In fact, this tester is the exact same color as Tugboat, the 1994 Dodge Caravan Sport I learned to drive in, and ultimately exploded the engine with my teenage driving habits after 210,000 kilometers of otherwise flawless service. Back to 2021, and these are the second row seats of the Pacifica Pinnacle, and they're a very special place. They're beautifully sculpted captain's chairs, covered in stitched leather and included with a luxury quilted lumbar pillow and plenty of adjustability. You get storage bins at your feet. They're useful for storing things like the luxury lumbar pillows if you don't need one, or other stuff like washer fluid, boots, snacks, your laptop, whatever. Normally, when you buy a Pacifica, you get second row seats that stow and go into those bins, the seats tumbling and collapsing into the floor in the blink of an eye with a few tugs and yanks. Here's the idea. Now, the specific luxury second row seats in the Pacifica Pinnacle do not fold into the floor. You'd have to remove them if you didn't want them there, but the storage bins remain. So whether you prefer your Pacifica with 2 rows of stow and go seating, or 4 spacious captain's chairs with a cavern for a cargo hold and a 3rd seating row that power deploys if you need it, you're covered off. So 2 comfortable and spacious seats up front, 2 more behind that, with a storage bin underneath each of them, and behind that, just look at that cargo space. So, seated position, there's a household power outlet right down there, by the way. So we can plug in your laptop to recharge or whatever. If you want to get in the back row, just flip this up. Notice I'm using just about no effort here. I can probably do this with one finger. This is really, really light. So easy to work. Put these up. There's a seatbelt here. All right, so 3rd row seating. Super light, 1 or 2 fingers. Step in behind. Now, the first thing I want to do is recline this, and I'm looking for a latch or a lever. In fact, it's a power recline, so I'm just pressing this little button here, and I can recline this seat or put it forward. Beside that, we've got 2 USB charging ports here, but point is, headroom is fine. It's not generous for 5'10" like me. If I put this back, I mean, I've still got adequate room. Like, I mean, as a 3rd row goes, I could sit back here for hours and hours. I think I've got 2 cup holders, cubbies, charging ports, power seat controls, easy to get in and out. And if I look down there behind me, I've still got this giant bin for shopping and cargo as well. Powered tailgate, of course. First thing to notice, the floor back here is not completely flat. There's a little bit of an angle to it. This is going to work just fine for the dog, your bike, camping gear, shopping, and whatnot. When you want the seats up and down, it's just power folding. So right here, we can pick if we want both seats, left seat, right seat, and what we want them to do. So if I go both seats normal, then in just a moment,
and you can do some dentistry.
Obviously, folks, much faster to do this manually. However, if you don't want to, I mean, when I was a kid, I always thought these things one day were gonna have a button to press and it was just gonna fold that all down for you, right? Notice the grocery bag hooks right here. So if you've got your grocery bags down there, they're about to be squished by the seat now, but if that wasn't the case, it would hold your bags upright.
Unless you're making hamburger patties.
Look at how many different ways you've got to work this door. So everything's power sliding. Again, less effort on the driver or the passenger's part. To close that door again, I can push this button here. I mean, that probably wouldn't pop a balloon. There's another button just here on the inside. Press that. And it closes. Again, you can just put the smallest amount of force is going to trip that safety sensor. What I can tell you is that from right here, sitting comfortably behind another full-size adult, I have a ton of room. Look at this. Almost a foot of knee room. I can stretch out. I'm pretty sure I can recline this. I've got a TV. Look at this, James. It'll keep the kids entertained for hours. You've got all the connections, HDMI. You can hook your Xbox up to this. What does this do? Oh, that just gets that up and out of the way. Oh, that's neat. So I guess if you were having trouble getting in and out of this, you could just press that button there and it would make some extra room for you to get that seat up ahead out of the way.
This is perfect for your kids because look, you get your own headphones.
Look at that.
Your own remote.
Yep.
And your own TV.
So as a parent, and I don't have kids, you have kids, this is like, all right, kids, see you in 4 hours. So mom and dad get some peace and quiet that way.
Exactly.
Look, it's even got a little pouch for your remote there. Everything clean and tidy and organized in here.
Whatever your use case, and without much hassle at all, the Pacifica you're choosing can be easily configured to just about any activity, going from people hauler to cargo van faster than pretty much anything on 4 wheels.
I can use my camera backpack here just to show for some scale. That's a big proper backpack right there, and you can see that you've definitely got room for at least a few dozen more of them if you wanted.
$6.2.
6.2, and we're passing the, hold still there, I can't focus. Oh, there we go. Look at that, just a millimeter or two to spare. Passes the tailgate test.
So to be very clear, the second row seats fold into the floor unless you go with this specialized Top Dog Pinnacle version with custom rear seating that's designed to be left in place but is also removable. That's a low, easy to access surface for cargo, kids, or the family canine, and enough vertical room in here to nearly walk around. But I think the most special thing about the Pacifica Pinnacle's numerous updates for 2021 is what's happening further below that floor. See, Canadian shoppers love stow and go. They love all-wheel drive too. And that's a problem because the floor of a minivan only has room for so many things to be fit underneath it, and for a very long time, that meant there just wasn't the room to have both stow and go and all-wheel drive. But all-wheel drive sells minivans, so the engineers worked around the clock on a solution. For 2021, that solution is ready, and after an extensive and meticulous redesign of the Pacifica, they found a way to optimize the packaging of the floor, storage bins, fuel tank, exhaust, and suspension, slightly widening the floor and finagling everything around inside of supercomputer design after design until finally they found a way to make it all fit. And so what you're looking at here is an all-wheel drive equipped minivan available with 2 rows of stow and go seating. That's 30 seconds from easily accessible people mover to rolling cargo space, and with a full-time all-wheel drive system packed into the mix. If you've got a busy, growing family to move around all 4 seasons of the year, your ears may have just perked up. You're looking at 1 part 3-row rolling luxury lounge, 1 part high-tech all-wheel drive equipped cargo hauler, and all with stretch-out space and luxury accommodations for 4. Really luxurious accommodations for 4, I might add. Look at this leather, and the stitching, and the quilting. The instruments are nicely detailed, everything flows and layers around you, and even the display screen is great to look at.
So these buttons here, fully customizable screen up there on the instrument cluster. So you have cruise control ready or ACC adaptive cruise control ready. So if you prefer not to use the radar, you can just turn it off and use regular cruise. And look at this screen here. I mean, that is super responsive. The graphics are fantastic. This is super responsive. They say this has 5 times the processing power of the unit that came before it, which is why this looks great, but you're also just able to sort of flick through all these menus really rapidly, and it's just liquid smooth. Look at the graphics on this. So this is like using, the high-end phone or tablet that you're used to all day. You're getting that same kind of experience with the interface here.
Go with the Pinnacle for the top line experience. There simply is no more luxurious minivan, though it does come with a matching price tag. Whether you're looking to set your family up with the most luxurious travel machine possible, to treat your passengers to the highest level of luxury possible, or to impress clients who travel in your vehicle, add in the miles of stitching, gloss finishes, metal trimmings, and the big beautiful central touchscreen system with high-end graphics that repeat in the instrument cluster, and you've got attention to detail and featured content in here that helps support the very generous asking price. The latest connectivity tech means you get Amazon Alexa, wireless CarPlay and Android Auto, a home screen that can be customized for 6 different users, the ability to connect multiple Bluetooth phones at once, and all powered by a computer system with 5 times the processing power of the outgoing unit. So it's the very latest in-car connectivity backed by future-proof processing power. The safety system story is similarly comprehensive. Along with the updated looks and that fresh new face comes added safety tech, including new LED lights that are powerful and thickly cover the road ahead at night, along with new pedestrian automatic emergency braking that can autonomously stop a collision with a nearby human in certain situations. By now, I think you're getting the idea of what the Chrysler Pacifica Pinnacle is all about. A rolling, highly connected, extreme versatility social lounge for you and your friends and family, and a machine that lets everyone on board enjoy the most luxurious interior ever fitted to a minivan, as well as a selection of the best tech anyone's putting into one today. Of course, none of that answers the important question, how does it drive? Well, if, like me, it's been some years since you've driven a minivan, maybe 10 or even more in my case, you only need a moment at the wheel in this to be surprised. And that surprise comes from what you're expecting versus how the Pacifica feels and responds.
I think the big thing to know about this, if you haven't driven a minivan in quite some time, it's been 10, 12 years or so for me in this case. Maybe you had a minivan before, maybe you got out of one, and maybe now in your life it's starting to make sense again. Whatever the case might be, if you haven't driven a minivan in years and years, the first thing you're going to notice getting into this is how much sharper the responses are to just about everything that you tell it to do. The steering does exactly what you want it to do at any speed that you're driving at. At low speeds, quick and responsive. At higher speeds here on the highway, heavier and more locked on. The brakes engage relatively quickly. This is not a sports car. It's not an immediate bite of the pads as soon as you touch that pedal. But what you do have is a nice progressive buildup of stopping power, and you don't need a whole lot of leg on that pedal to get your speed pulled back down quickly. The ride is nice. It rides exactly the way it looks like it rides, big and soft and comfortable. That's a great thing if you're touring along the highway with a bunch of your friends on board. And even this powertrain, which you hardly even know is there when you're driving it gently, operates smoothly and with a refinement to it, even when you're pushing it a little bit. And not that it matters, but even at full throttle, the engine has a nice sound to it, a nice polish. It feels like it's working really well with that 9-speed automatic. Little bit of extra attention to detail to how everything feels and responds that you're looking for in a high-end product. So I guess the point is, if you've kind of given up on owning a minivan because of how they feel, this is still worth a test drive. It might change your mind.
On rough roads, I found it soft, nicely isolated, and able to take some abuse without the suspension making a lot of unpleasant noise. The long wheelbase helps smooth things out even further. Still, the noise levels in this setting are far from the quietest you'll find in a 3-road today. Remember, Pacifica is a big open space on wheels, which means on very rough roads, it's kind of like a big drum. And that means you get more of the echoey, resonating, hollow sound as air gets pumped through the cabin of the vehicle. So on very rough roads, the ride comfort is nicely done, but you do have quieter riding options if that's a concern for you. Pacifica starts under 40,000 Canadian dollars. You can have a plug-in hybrid if you like, which can drive a few dozen kilometers at a time without using any gas, but that model only comes front-wheel drive. If you're interested in hybrid tech from a Pacifica, then you've got no all-wheel drive option. If you think an all-wheel drive hybrid minivan might be pretty cool, there is the Toyota Sienna, also available with all-wheel drive and standard with a hybrid engine, where all-wheel drive equipped versions of the Pacifica only come with the non-hybrid V6. And while my tester will set a standard as an industry benchmark for luxury and feature content and space, its nearly $67,000 asking price does open the door on a wide range of other three-row family haulers that might be worth your consideration depending on what you're after. It is always nice to have choices, and if you're set on a minivan for its unbeatable combination of space and flexibility, well, this is about as good as it gets. I'm Justin Pritchard for Driving.ca. Thanks for watching, and until next time, take care and drive safe.